Hi, it's Dr. Parikh, and I'm going to talk about rereading Writing with Style by Szuchman. So this week and next week, I'm having you actually reread a few chapters. Chapter 1, The Introduction, The Lay People and You, kind of talks about writing as a psychologist, writing in psychology, and kind of thinking about it as a science, thinking about how, what kind of tone you're supposed to use. And then next week, you're going to reread chapter 2, which is about how psychologists write. So kind of words and phrases to use, words and phrases to not use. A lot of these, even if you read it carefully the first time, you may be like, oh, I've been doing this a lot. And it gives you the basics of avoiding biased language, sexist language, things like that. So chapter 1 and 2 are the most important sections about how to write well. The other things you're going to reread next week are appendices. So the first appendix is about revision, so how you go through the revision process, and the second appendix is that sample manuscript. So those are things I want you to reread. I want you to also look back at notes that you wrote about it. And in your reading group, you're going to discuss, how did I see these this time? So really think about what stands out to you, maybe what stands out to you differently than it did the first time, and what you want to remember. This is also good to think about because remember next week, Module 7, you're going to be turning in your list of common mistakes that you make. This chapter is a gold mine for figuring out, oh, I think I do that. And it's a great way you can check in with your reading group too. So use it. And I also mention, for example, for this week, I talk about chapters that might be helpful, even though I don't require you to reread them. I just want to remind you that they're there and that Szuchman, it really can be a resource. I've had students say in the past that it was kind of too deep. And I think part of that is because they only read it at the beginning. So I've started having students reread it as we go through and reminding them like, hey, there's information in here that's really helpful. Particularly writing the methods section, I referred back to a few sections in Szuchman. It's not necessarily a book that you're going to keep as a reference book, the same way you'll keep the APA concise rules. It might be, though. It could be a good thing to to just kind of flip through, especially if you can mark up the margins, or at least keep your notes. Keep aware of it. Know that as a reader or as a writer, you grow in stages, in cycles, and so you always have a growth edge. Even when you have developed, quite a bit, there's still things that you can do to improve your clarity, your focus, your tone. You're always, I still am most certainly improving as a writer. It's a continuing process, and I'm excited that I've been able to be part of it with you this semester. Thanks. Bye.